Hi, everybody. Welcome to another week of Women Empowering Women. I am Galit Ventura Rosen, and I am excited today to be interviewing another amazing woman entrepreneur from all over the world. And her name is Lori Karpman. Welcome, Lori.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here. Thanks for inviting me.
It's so much fun to talk to women from all over, and Lori's from Canada, and I've had the opportunity to actually speak to some amazing women from different parts of Canada. And so Lori is a seasoned executive and former attorney with over 20 years of real world experience. She's an expert coach to entrepreneurs, and she helps them make their passions into profitable revenue streams. Tell us a little bit about your journey and how you got here.
I actually have had sort of an interesting journey that sort of had, the twists and turns. I actually started out my career as a tax lawyer. So I spent 7 years working in tax law.
Mhm.
And then I left private practice. I went in-house for a multi-million dollar company, and where I gained a lot of experience in the franchise industry, which is franchising and licensing. So it's business development. That's what I specialize in. And I subsequently co-founded a chain of franchise restaurants. So that was really a blast. And I had that chain for 5 years, and then I sold it to a US restaurant development group. So at that point, I realized that I had a very unique skill set because I had done marketing, and I have marketing awards. I had done legal work. I'd done operations, recruiting, manuals. And so I said to myself, why don't I just, when I sold my company, I said, I'm going to just work for myself. So I opened my consulting practice, which is about 17 years old now. And in my business, I work with small business to medium business owners, and I help them take their businesses to the next level, because most people can sort of get their business to a certain level, and then after that, they need some expertise to get it to the next level.
Absolutely.
So
So
I work, yeah, so I work with business owners. I also work with individuals, who are looking to either make career changes or are in transition, or, in general, as you said in my bio, I like to find people who have passions, and then I teach them how to turn that passion into a revenue stream.
it's so interesting. And of course, that's the basis of everything that I do as well. There's something so powerful about doing what you love. And I actually am so blessed. I actually had the opportunity on just last Saturday to speak about the topic, doing what you love, at the speaking engagement I was at. It was called the Unstuck Conference. And it's
Cool.
interesting for me, right? I knew you'd love that. That's why I brought it up, Lori, because I saw that in your bio as well, the unstuck piece. So
Yep.
being stuck, finding your passion, knowing that you can turn it into income. And so many people do not recognize that connection. Don't you see that with your
Well,
client?
that's what I had a client who came, and she was a health writer. Okay. And, but her real passion was for Reiki. And I said to her, I don't understand. Why aren't you in the Reiki business? Why aren't you a Reiki
Right?
practitioner? What are you
It's
doing?
so simple to you.
She
You're like,
says,
I don't get it.
but she says to me, well, I can't make money doing that. I
There
said,
you
says
go.
who? Who says you can't make money doing that? So I put together a plan for her, and we went forward, and now she's a Reiki master with a thriving Reiki business. And, she calls me all the time. She says, thank you, thank you, thank you.
Doing what she loves.
When you do, there's an expression that says, when you do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life.
Isn't that so true?
Yeah.
I believe that so much. I know you and I can talk about that topic
For
all day
hours.
long, but today we're going to talk about a different topic that I think is just as important, because if you learn the steps to get over procrastination and not to procrastination, you have the potential to do what you love and make an income at it and not feel like it's work. And a lot of times procrastination is what holds you back.
Absolutely. That's what holds us back. That holds back 98% of the people. That holds them back from fulfilling their dreams.
I love that. Well, jump us right in.
All right. Well, let's talk about procrastination, because everybody procrastinates. Okay. There are studies that show 97% of the population procrastinates, And if you ask me, I'm going to tell you the other 3% are lying.
I agree.
Okay.
I agree.
Yeah. Everybody procrastinates, myself included, which is why I've written on it and why I coach on it. Because, you always seem to coach on what you need, right?
Of course.
And we procrastinate and we do it for a variety of reasons, right? Sometimes we do it because we just feel overwhelmed. And so we're too overwhelmed and it just seems like such a big project. And so we just put it off. Sometimes we really just don't like what we have to do. It's really just not a pleasant task. And so we put that off.
Yes.
And a lot of times, the majority of the time is that people put things off because they don't have the skills to complete the task. So for example, someone who says, I want to redo my website. Okay. But they don't know anything about websites. The whole thing about it, about finding themes and all this stuff is all very confusing and complicated to someone. And so they procrastinate in doing it because they don't have the skills.
Mm-hmm.
So let's address these individually.
Okay.
So the first thing is that people feel overwhelmed. Now, if you ask someone, okay, I tell my clients to fill out a to-do list, okay, for the day. So they fill out their to-do list and then I look and they've got like 10, 15 things on their to-do list. And I said, well, you've set yourself up for failure. Yes. The average person can only complete 3 to 4 to do things per day, 3 to 4. So I tell people
3. It's always that number 3.
It's the number 3.
Yeah.
I say, I'm a dinosaur, so I like to write. So I keep a written list. Every time I have something to do, I just put it on the list. It's like a brain dump, right? So I don't forget anything. So I tell people to do that. Just keep a running list. You cross things off as you do them. You keep a running list. And then what I tell them to do is to sit down in the morning, look at their list and pick out 3 things that they're going to do today. The 3 things that will lead to the most achievements are the things that they should do. So, grocery shopping, while it needs to be done, it's not a major priority during the working hours, right? So during working hours, I tell them, look at 3 things and pull out 3 things that you're going to do today. So I say to myself, and I tell them, ask yourself this: if I do nothing else today, I will do, and then you put 3 things. And it's amazing how you feel and how much more confident you feel because you get to tick these things off. And
there's only 3.
There's only 3, and you've had a really accomplished day.
Yes.
So that's one of the things. The other thing is when we tend to have these tasks that are really big tasks, we feel overwhelmed by the size of the task. So what I do, and this is something I do personally, is I take every single task or project, I break it down into the smallest little bits. So for example, let's say I am writing a book. So my first thing is to pick a topic. So I have to pick my topic. Then I'm going to need to do some research. And I'm going to need to do an outline for my book and a table of contents and a first draft. And when you look at it, it just seems like so much.
Yeah.
So I break it down into small tasks. So my first task is just find a topic. I find a topic, I tick that off. Yay, done. Right? And if you can do this with anything, you can take any task and break it into small itty bitty pieces, like cleaning a room, for example. You say, I'm going to clean my desk. I'm going to clean my shelves. I'm going to clean the floor. So there's 3 things, right? And as you accomplish each one, and as you take care of the small things, the big things, they take care of themselves. Because you're watching and you're ticking off all the small little things. So once these small things get done, the big item is taken care of. So you don't have to overwhelm or be overwhelmed by the big item. Just make sure you do the small little tasks.
I agree. I know that is a major thing. The overwhelm actually stops people from even taking that little baby step. Yeah. So if you break it down, there's something about the mind, the human mind, that doesn't see the big picture as overwhelming anymore because they're focusing on the little steps. It's a great piece of advice.
Thank you. Thank you. Another thing, the other reason why we procrastinate is because we just don't feel like doing something.
No, for sure.
And a lot of times it's because we've had a bad experience. Like for me, okay, I hate when I have to call Revenue Canada. Okay. I hate when I have to deal with the government. I procrastinate. I hate dealing with the government. But, you have to adopt the Nike principle, which is just do it. Nobody says you have to like all the tasks you do. And the people who succeed are the people who do those tasks, despite the fact that they don't like them, they do them and they get them done.
Yes.
So that's something really important, is the just do it. You know, I have dishes in my sink. I don't feel like doing the dishes, but the dishes are overwhelming. It's like, okay, Lori, just do it. You know, just get it done, right?
I call it
And then
ripping off the Band-Aid,
that's
Lori,
exactly it. And then 15
because I get to then do my fun stuff. So for me, and of course, that's probably why we are so successful. I just want to get all the stuff I don't want to do done so I can just focus on the stuff I want to.
right.
So bills, you're going to giggle, but I usually pay my bills on a Saturday morning because that's the first quiet time I have all week. So I'll
Right.
wake up on a Saturday. I have my stack from the week. I'll go through them, get them done. I know I've got my entire weekend open to do whatever I want to do now.
Yep.
So rip the Band-Aid off. And it's funny, Lori, do you know that I use that same just do it as my 7th step for doing what you love at my speaking engagement on Saturday?
Oh, really?
You and I are so dang like right on the same.
Yeah, absolutely. We're connected.
My last step was, okay, I know this is not my slogan. I'm not saying or taking credit for it, but just do it.
Yep. And it's amazing how much better you feel after you do it. And a lot of times we procrastinate because we expect it to be miserable because we've had a bad experience.
Yes.
But that doesn't mean that every experience is going to be miserable. So your next one may be very pleasant, you know, but we put it, and then you make that call, and I make that call to revenue, and I say, and I hang up and I go, geez, that wasn't so bad.
That wasn't so bad.
They're like, what did I worry about that for?
It never fails that that's what happens though. Yeah. Now, I can't compare that to dishes because I still don't enjoy doing dishes, and I don't think I ever will.
No, you don't have to enjoy it, but you got to do it.
Yes. So I know for me, the dishes is about how many end up in there. So something silly as an example, if you want to take a funny example, anyone watching is, look, the longer you wait, the more dishes there are, and the longer you need to do dishes.
Right.
So just get it done. So I've got a 3 or 4 plate limit. And then I'm like, all right, time, done.
I like that 3 or 4 plate. I'm going to use that because I don't have a dishwasher. So I'm going to use that.
Yeah, and I have a dishwasher, and we're talking about putting the dishes in the dishwasher.
I see. Okay. I don't have a dishwasher. I'm washing by hand, but I like that 4 plate rule. Once there's 4 things, I wash. I like that. I'm going to adopt that.
Overwhelming, and then I don't want to do it, and I don't enjoy it. But I'm a mom, and you mentioned the grocery shopping and the cooking and the cleaning. It's just part of what I need to do.
Yeah.
But it's not my joy. I prefer doing this all day long, talking to women like you.
Well, thank you.
Well, what else can we do to stop procrastinating?
One of the things, you know, is that we have to realize, first of all, the tasks that you really don't like to do them first in the morning. Do them first. The ones that you really don't like to do them first, get them over with, because then you feel accomplished. And once you feel accomplished, you will tend to accomplish more throughout that day.
Agree. I love that.
Right. So just, you know, and then you also have to realize that, you know, you have to realize what your body clock is. You have to realize when you do things better. Now, for me, I do better making my calls in the morning, and I do my writing and coaching in the afternoon.
Okay.
So that's how it works for me, because I'm more awake in the morning. I'm more alive. You know, it's easier for me to make my calls, you know, my sales calls and things like that. And and then later on in the afternoon, around 3, 4 o'clock, when I'm sort of like petering out, you know, that's when I'll do, you know, my reading or catch up on some, non obligatory emails and things like that.
And some people are not. I'm like you. I'm an early morning. I was on the computer this morning writing at 6:30 in the morning. But I have some clients that they do best at midnight and 1 in the morning. I'm like, whatever works for you.
That's it.
If that's when you write, I have clients that are writing their books from midnight till 3 a.m. I can't even imagine my brain functioning at that time. I want to be asleep by 10. So I love that you teach people, do what works for you. Don't think there's only one thing that works for people.
That's right.
You're successful.
For some people being at work at 8 o'clock in the morning, and they work, you know, from 8, you know, until 6, that's their time. But some people, I have a friend of mine, she starts work at 11, you know, and then she'll finish at 6, 7 o'clock, but she starts work she gets up in the morning, she goes to church, she does her workout, and that works for her because she can work until 11 o'clock at night. For me, I can't work by 7:30. My brain is fried. So, you know, I tend to get to my desk more around 8:30 in the morning, and I'm here till about 6 o'clock, but I work at home and I don't really take a break during the day. So it's a pretty full day, even though I finish at around 6. It's a pretty full day. But what
Yeah.
I do know is that if I have to do reading, for example, I don't read comfortably at my desk. If I want to get the reading done, I'll take the reading and I'll go sit on my couch and I'll do my reading there. Or sometimes I just need a change of scenery, and I'll take my computer and I'll go into the kitchen and clean up my inbox, for example. So what we have to realize is that some people do better, even if they go out and they go to a Starbucks. They do better working at a Starbucks on certain things. So if I'm reading, I'm happy to read at a Starbucks. I can't write at a Starbucks, but for me to take the time out and to go to a Starbucks and to catch up on my business reading, right? And people don't.
It also gives you a nice little break too.
Well, that's it. But yet I'm still working and I'm still accomplishing. And people think that the only place they can accomplish things is at their desk.
Oh no.
And that's not true. You can feel free to work wherever working is best for you. It doesn't have to be at a desk. Whatever works for you and when you're comfortable, that's the best place to be.
I walked into a Starbucks. I'm a Starbucks girl too. Oh my gosh, I think I own unofficial shares in that company between me and I swear. I walked into a Starbucks the other day that I don't frequent very often because it doesn't have a drive-through, not as convenient, a little bit busier. There was not a place to sit. There were computers everywhere.
Yeah.
And you could see these people are parked in these locations. This is where they work best. They sit at a Starbucks and they work for hours and hours at a time. Now, myself, I like pin drop quiet. When I'm in my creating mode, I forget what time it is. I don't even have a clock in here. It's only on my computer, and sometimes I forget. So I'm like you. I work best in the morning, and then as the day goes on, usually after lunch, I'm slowing down, and then I'm ready to call it a night pretty early. But you need to figure out what works best for you. Some people like to work outside in nature.
Yeah.
If that's where you work best, great.
And some people, for me, I don't work on Fridays. I don't like to do shopping on the weekend. I just find it too much of a hassle. There's too many people. I don't like crowds.
Lori, me either.
So, I don't work, I'll work for a few hours Friday morning, but I take off Friday afternoon. But then, I'll work on Saturday morning. If I have to make up, sometimes I don't have to make up the time, but if I have to make up the time, I'll do it on a Saturday. But, if I want to take off a Tuesday afternoon to do my grocery shopping, that's what I do, because I know that I have a certain amount of work that gets done. And as long as that work is getting done, it doesn't really matter when it's getting done, as long as it's getting done.
Yes. And your schedule best. And you said it. I don't see clients or work on Fridays either. I'm just like you.
Yeah.
Love that work schedule, the 4-day work schedule. And then I'm like you too. Saturday mornings when everyone's asleep, I don't watch TV. So I'll get up and write because it's so quiet, but I don't feel like it's working. Remember what you said at the beginning with your Reiki client.
Right.
She doesn't feel like she's working. She's just doing what she loves every day.
That's right. And she's making money at it to boot.
So are there any other steps? I didn't keep track. We're doing so great. Is there anything else you want to share before we tell everybody how they can work with you?
I really just want to say, what people want to realize their dreams, and procrastination is what stands in the way. And it destroys productivity. And if you want to accomplish anything in life, you need to be productive, and you need to have, you need to take your project, break it down into the smallest little steps so it doesn't overwhelm you. And sometimes you need to start in the middle. When I do my writing, sometimes I can't figure out what my opening should be, and I'll just start writing the middle paragraph. So you just need to start somewhere. You don't have to start at the first place. You just need to jump in and start somewhere.
And a lot of times we know what's stopping most people is they just don't start. They keep it up here, the thoughts, the thinking, the I'm gonna's, or I will, or whatever it is that their thoughts are, and they never take that first action step. So that's such an important piece that you mentioned.
Yeah.
Take that action, that smallest little action. I sometimes tell people 5 minutes a day. Spend 5 minutes. And I said, 5 minutes a day gets you that much closer. If you don't spend 5 minutes a day, you're not getting any closer to it.
Yeah, listen, I got this new piece of exercise equipment, okay? And it's awesome, but it's tough. So that's what I do. I say to myself, I'm just going to do 5 minutes a day. So I try to do 5 minutes so that I can build up the stamina to do more. But at least I know I'm doing something.
Yes.
And that with my 5 minutes, every time I do the 5 minutes, I'm building more stamina. Then I'll be able to do 10 minutes and 15 minutes. So you just have to start somewhere, even with just the smallest little piece. Just start anywhere.
And usually, continuing with that example, which is a great example, what happens a lot of times is all of a sudden you're on 10 and you don't even realize it. Then you're on 15 and you don't even realize it. So when you're doing something that you want to do or that you love, especially, of course, we also have to do things we don't want to, but I like to reward myself with doing something I love. When I have to do something that I don't, you get lost usually in it. And all of a sudden you think, oh, I'll just spend 5 minutes on this. And an hour later, you're going, wait, what just happened?
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of times when you just get started, you'd be amazed at how far you go. And if you tell yourself, I'm just going to do 5 minutes, and you're into it in 5 minutes, and then you do another 5 and you do another 5. And, and this is how you become productive. This is how you reach your goals, is by knowing, where your end results, where's the end point. And then, starting at the beginning, what are all the steps I have to do in order to realize my dream?
Those are all great pieces of advice, great steps. And anybody that's watching, if you just chose one and implemented it, just one. You don't even have to get overwhelmed and implement all of them. One of those steps and tried it for a week, I am positive that you will see your productivity level increase like this. Just commit to one. Thank you so much, Lori. Tell everybody how they can get a hold of you if they're interested in learning more about working with you.
They can get a hold of me in a couple of ways. My website is lorikarpman.com. So they can, which I think you're going to post, so they'll be able to spell that. They can email me, which is lori@lorikarpman.com. And they can phone. I am in Montreal, and my number is 514-481-2722. It's 514-481-2722. So either email me, call me, check me out on my website, but, go to my Facebook page, my LinkedIn page. You'll find me somewhere.
And it's not hard to find us.
No, it's not hard to find me.
Yeah, but take the action step if you want to learn more about working with Lori.
That's right. And obviously,
if you don't reach out.
Right. And obviously, I have special rates, of course, from people who come to me and they say, well, I saw you on Galit's show. So obviously, I have freebies.
So make sure you reach out to Lori from this interview. Let her know you saw her on Women Empowering Women, because she has a special offer for you to work with her, and you want to take advantage of that. Thank you so much, Lori, for joining us from Canada.
Thank you for having me. It was a real joy.
So much fun always, and it goes by so fast, doesn't it?
Yeah, I know.
Thank you so much for joining me for another week of Women Empowering Women, where I interview amazing women entrepreneurs from all over the world. I am Galit Ventura Rosen, and I'll see you next week.